Hi, I'll do my best. I'm Cobalt. I'm a house cat and a streamer, and I draw and make music. Um, I'm old. I like fish, they're cute and they taste good. And I like Vocaloid. I mean, who doesn't want to see a cat use Vocaloid? I use Vocaloid 4. I don't like tomato. Disgusting. They are not fruits. Well, they are, but they're evil fruit. My streams will include drawing, music production, and singing, because that's fun. Feel free to request things and ask questions. I'm a Norwegian forest cat. I am grand and majestic and very fluffy. No, I'm not. I stay inside all the time. I speak English and I'm in the Eastern Standard time zone, so all of the times that I list will be such. My next stream will be a drawing stream on January 6th at 5:30, and then the one after that will probably be finishing the drawing and showing it after finishing touches, and maybe something else. Tomato-covered fish in the comments sounds purely evil. That just sounds terrible. Unless they're like sun-dried tomatoes. Now that might be okay. I can't imagine that'd be too good for me, but that might taste good. Can cats even eat tomato? Personally, I think it would give me a stomach ache. On that note, are cats supposed to have milk? Because nobody can take milk away from me. Well, I actually have Microsoft Paint prepared if we're ready for a little chaos. Oh, well, a human diet or a cat diet? Well, I don't like cat food. It smells. It's stinky. Human food smells good. It is worth the trouble. Cat food, I imagine would be super convenient though. You would just like open your container and eat it. I mean, imagine with my opposable thumbs, I'd be able to get into all the food. So I have paint prepared. I guess I'm going to start by drawing tomato-covered fish since that's going to live in my nightmares. No, brushes are for the weak. I only use the pencil tool. Because clearly that's the mark of a good artist, using Microsoft Paint pencil tools. Well, I wear a fish, so I can just, yeah, fish. This is the fish that I wear. It's there's no meat on it, so it needs the tomato, clearly. Evil. I think MS Paint is the only proper option, actually. It's not a bold option, it's the right option. Of course, I actually use Metabang Paint Pro when I'm drawing because I like actually having layers, but the sheer chaos of Microsoft Paint makes it a very attractive option. My tomato-covered fish. Goodbye. Oh, the background music I actually wrote myself. I can show how I do it sometime. I can surely do that as an upcoming stream or maybe a video. I use Studio One for my music production, and then sometimes I record clips, but most of the time I use synths. I like one of the synths that I use, you just take waveforms and then add different, I like using LFOs. Oscillators are fun. They're just a good time. And it means that you can make your sound unique without having to worry about samples too much. But I really like sampling as well. I think it's very fun to use it creatively, and it's a delicate process if you're sampling from other people's music, though. I try to avoid that. But most of my samples are really the defaults, and the synths are not. I like to make my own. Some of the bass, I have a program, I can't remember the name of it, that I use for designing the bass sounds. It's not my favorite thing to do, but it's enjoyable to hear what it sounds like when it's actually being used in music. Most of the music I make, I think it would be best considered like ambient synth pop, I guess is probably the best description. Which means using such synths gives it a unique vibe. I think that's the best description. I am now out of the way. I'm gonna draw Miku. Who doesn't like Miku? I actually use Lin and Ren when I'm making music with vocals and am not singing, which I mostly sing for covers because I think it's more fun. And I love using Vocaloid and don't intend to replace it. So I use Lin and Ren the most, but you really can't go wrong with Miku. So that's what I'm going to draw for now. Although I don't think that's quite chaotic enough. Wee. Catboy go. Wee. Does anybody remember what Miku's design looks like other than the blue pigtails? Because at this point it's changed so many times that I kind of mix elements from all of them while I'm drawing, and it gets a bit confusing. Not that that's a bad thing, but I do wish I could be more faithful to the original design. I'm a big proponent of fluffy Miku hair. Sleek is good too, but fluffy is more fun to draw. I'm going to draw all of the designs. Okay, I'm drawing all of the designs. Although I really love the V4 design, but the art style of the V3 English is absolutely beautiful and lives in my head rent-free. Very, very nice. I love the use of the colors. It's really bold. And it's a slightly more realistic style in a way that I definitely wouldn't expect. I thought it looked really cool. Hmm. Don't mind me, it's part of the process. Oops. I always loved the headphone designs, but in the end I end up drawing round ones instead of rectangular ones. I know in their actual designs, their headphones tend to be a little more like this. But I always draw them with round bases instead, and then flared out. Because I like how it looks, and then you can really tell when it's from the side. Otherwise, from the front, it'll just look like that, and I don't think that's very fun to draw. The meowing background music. Yes. That might be Cat Factory. It's one that I wrote using a single sample and then a bunch of synths and then pitching them accordingly to get meowing sounds. It's I'm pretty fond of it. It was super fun to make. I always liked Miku's tie, looking sharp. Hands. Hands are so important and so difficult to draw. So I usually start by drawing the outer fingers and the thumb. Of course, I make sure I've got the general idea of where the palm goes first, or else it ends up very difficult. Basically, don't start with the fingers and then try to attach them all, because then it probably won't end up the shape that you're looking for, and the fingers will be the wrong sizes. But other than that, I still have not perfected my hands. But I will get there one day. For now, though, I just think about where the fingers go. After I already know where the palm belongs and what they will look like from the different angles. It's not foolproof, but it works quite well. Like, this thumb is not in the right place, even though I had an idea of where it goes. But it's a little easier to fix that than the length of all the fingers. You draw too. Hands are definitely a struggle. That and the other eye. The other eye. Especially if you're just doodling and then try to finish the doodle. I think that might be the worst, because the eyes aren't necessarily symmetrical in your sketch, which is fine, but then you might not catch it until later on because you've been staring at it for so long you haven't even noticed the asymmetry until it's too late. That along with hands, those are one of the most evil things. Oh, next up on the list of evil drawing things, though, is probably when you've been doodling for a while and then suddenly you flip the canvas. That's always a kick to the ego. But it's okay, because at least that way you can correct it instead of just letting it stay that way. But that makes me wonder if you never mirror it. Like in Microsoft Paint, I don't mirror anything, and I can only imagine how asymmetrical all of these are. But that's okay. I try to incorporate asymmetry into the drawings while I'm using Microsoft Paint to make up for it a bit, or at least let it be purposeful. Because I know I can't get it symmetrical. That is definitely going the wrong way. The breeze is going this way. That's a little better. The other eye. I say that with a mystical feeling and sadness in my heart. But it's okay. Everybody has to put up with that. I imagine it just takes a lot of practice and staying aware of what the eyes look like and maybe it's more avoidable than we think. I promise I can draw, and not in Microsoft Paint, but I can. However, Microsoft Paint is just so fun to use, and it's very fast. You can basically just do anything, and as soon as you do it, it happens. It's just extremely quick and super fun for doodling, and it's like there are no restrictions on what you need to draw and how professional it needs to be. You can just do anything you want. And I think that's extremely enjoyable. Everybody should at least try to draw in Microsoft Paint if they feel like they've got really bad, like, I guess the art version of writer's block. It helps a lot. Because you can just make whatever you want. Sometimes when I open a fancy program, I use Metabang, which I guess isn't incredibly fancy, but it's got a lot of utility to it, and I appreciate that very much. But sometimes when you're opening something with that many different options, you feel obligated to use all of them, and really all you need to do sometimes is doodle, and that's okay. It's like when people say to write essays in Comic Sans to make it feel less threatening. Thank you. I'm king. And despite everything I said about hands, mine's the wrong size again, but that's okay. Sometimes you can think about the middle two fingers as being connected, and it makes it a little easier to get the shape in there at least. I wonder if it's not the size, but instead the position of the hand. I think it might just be too far over. I bet if I move it, it'll be like nothing happened. Yeah, that was probably it. It looks a lot more natural. I like the pen tool a lot because it's one pixel at a time, whereas the brushes, sometimes they blend the colors and they make it harder to use the color swap option, which I really like. It makes it much easier to get rid of a base sketch that's done in a different color, or even replace the colors while you're actually coloring. And if the colors blend, it's basically impossible to do that. You'll have to redraw it, which, when you don't have layers, is a real pain. You know what? That's good and all, but she's kind of missing something. Something rather important. Um, her hair, it's just not blue. It's definitely time for blue. But none of these blues are blue enough. I need the most blue that you can imagine. Perfect. I think I have the most intense blue. Wonderful and amazing. So what I'm going to do is actually replace the color white with this blue and use the eraser tool. And I'll use a big one at first and then go back with a small one to fill in everything that I missed. And the reason that I do this instead of the fill bucket is, well, you can definitely see that I don't always close the lines. When I close the lines, I'll use the fill bucket first, but when I don't, this is definitely a more convenient option. Sometimes I'll leave even just like a 1 pixel gap, and that is enough for the fill bucket to leak. But this time I've got significant gaps because I only did a second sketch. I didn't do the actual line art, but that's okay. Oh, I do have a bot in my chat. Hello. Nice to meet you. It's definitely a bit strange. Okay, well, you know, that's not too much of a problem, I should hope. Bots are welcome to... No, not really. I can't welcome them. I'm sorry. I would prefer people and cats and maybe even dogs if they promise not to chase me around the neighborhood. That would be okay. But I don't think I'm too big of a fan of bots pretending to be people. Just like say that you're a bot. That's okay. No shame. But don't pretend. That's not very nice. It's misleading. Oops. Alright, I fill in all the gaps using this. I should actually be able to use the fill bucket with no worries. Not if I'm filling with the color white. That's much better. The eyes definitely also need to be blue. Unless, no, just kidding, just kidding. Completely blue, because that makes sense. Well, that's a little better. Now, one problem I do have with using Microsoft Paint is that I keep trying to use my MetaBang shortcuts. So in MetaBang, when you double tap the colors, then it'll swap them, which is incredibly convenient. Especially for something like this, it would be amazing, but it's not an option. And that's okay, there are other ways to do it. But it's still something I miss a little. No. That was not intended. Thank you. Owo supremacy. All right, now I have to actually think a little. What color is the uniform going to be? I know sometimes it's gray and sometimes it's white, but personally, I think I'm gonna make it black. That was definitely not intended. All right, where's the leak? That might also be what I'm missing. Leaks. That's okay. This is so sad. We are almost there. Almost to an unleaky. Okay, I will give it another try. Yay! I probably shouldn't have used a pure black. That's okay. Gotta keep the stripes consistent. No! Do you know what I think it needs? I think it needs more blue. This is the perfect place for blue, although everywhere's the perfect place for blue. I could just cover the entire canvas blue, and that would be the right way. That would be the absolute right thing to do. It's looking pretty cool. This is definitely going to leak. So I should probably fill it first before I let an absolute disaster occur. I think that's only funny so many times. No! It is much better. I think we're almost done. No! These also need to be blue. But not like that. That was not the right way. I think that's a bit better. Nice and blue. Can you guess what color these are gonna be? Blue! No, just kidding. They will be halfway blue. I think that would be nice and bold. Betrayal. That was just betrayal. In case you thought we had enough blue, you were wrong. I think this is a decent enough Miku. I think next time I will be streaming on Metabang unless my computer says no, in which case I will use Microsoft Paint. I'll have both prepared so that Microsoft Paint will be my backup, but Metabang is definitely the plan because it's easier to make something polished, fix anatomy as you go so you don't end up with a rather oversized Miku. I think the head might be too big. Let's just say I was drawing an Nendoroid. Let's say that. But Metabang's definitely the plan for next time, and that'll be this Thursday. I actually have the time below, and the stream is already ready to go. It's under the drawing section because I plan on doing those regularly. That's the plan for next time. I will use Paint if anything happens. Sometimes Metabang, when I save it and the file name changes, you won't be able to see it, and I'll have to move over to something else momentarily as I fix the camera. But and other such issues with the computer. But other than that, Metabang is definitely the main plan for the next one, and I think it'll be really fun. So thank you, and I will see you Thursday.